And thanks for joining us for the news. Now, in our first story, there's a worrying reality playing out in the Ashanti region town of Obuasi following the shutdown of one of Africa's mining sites there.
Anglogold Ashanti closed its mines in the town some 3 years ago, citing low prices of gold on the world market. And the effects on the once busy town is now pronounced as thousands of residents are now out of work while traders struggle to sell. The Joy News documentary team visited Obuasi and report the shutdown has turned the mining town into a community on the brink.
Since the underground mine here at Obuasi was shut, people believe that it is a galamsey or small-scale mining that has sustained the economy of this local area. But for how long? Joining me here at this evening are these two men to explain for us, to understand clearly what the situation is. Since the closure of the mine, it took mine 3 years ago. In Sanso Bank and the Abba or Manfua, a war of Boise.
Mabunua Esiso, the new Jumae, Galamsey na Nekakanka Crass, a only Galamsey ni Bicrana, we a taxi driver, we a trotro driver, we a deal Biana, O Tom, Mo Tom Bibia, a Towadia, Galamsey for Crocobla, Bacrana, Ubinia Bibia on so bad day. Bibia Utumbia Cosso, they say Galamsey ni Jumebu, Ubin Corner Baba Towadia, Ubin so ma, no, maybe the amount, yet dime born so I ding, light being so I ding, a dear dear near Baye, until the straw mino, any party, or more dear Bebo, my moon, I even have been a bed, a boy, and no one thing, yes, straw man, so only the Sreno. On boy, person can say, Mimi say, me a softful, me a reverend minister. My name is Reverend Joseph Do. I don't do galamsey. But when the galamsey is going on, it helps all the people in the town. And you know, I will not say they should not allow the mining to come. When the mining also is working, people do pay tithes. When galamsey is going on, people see you on the roadside and give you that. So that we will not go away and sell in Kuto, sell better, and do all kind of gibbous way of taking money. Okay. So we want everybody to do well, as well as the galamsey and the money is being blended up. Okay. So that is all I can say.
Life must go on. Obuasi must not die. AGA should be able to find solution as to bringing back the underground mine, so that the livelihoods of the people who work in the mines, plus the locals who work.
Well, the full documentary will be aired this Saturday, so stay right there and join Kweko Usoprepa on this documentary. Now, let's move on to some other stories.
And some youth of Trede in the Ashanti region are demanding traditional authorities there probe a sum of some 450,000 Ghana cedis spent on a police station project located in the community.
They accuse the Queen Mother of the town, Nana Ejibikete, of overstating the cost of the project, and Sheriff FM's Nana Iyao Jima reports.
The police station was constructed 2 years ago through communal labor. Several ceremonies were organized to raise funds in support of the initiative. The group wants Nana Ejibikete, who was in charge of the project, to provide details of the amount spent. Nana Osu Ajiman is Ankobia Hene of Trede.
Go there and see it ourselves. Like, it's just a walking distance from here to that place. We can go there and see it, whether it's up to 4.5 billion or not. It's something just like 1 billion can even build a house. So why is she, arguing that it's probably up to 4.5 billion or something like that? Why? Why is she doing that?
The Queen Mother has ruled the area for about 3 years in the absence of a substantive chief following the passing of the last one. Nana Ajiman wants her to help restore calm in the community by properly installing a chief for the town.
About the chieftaincy too, 3 people are contesting for the chieftaincy of this community. What the woman is doing is she's trying to impose his choice, her choice on us, which is not even Agwabi in any way. So all what we are talking about is the woman is not using the proper way. She's not using the Amania Kwai as in tree, we say it. The Amania Kwai, proper Amania Kwai. She's not complying with our rules and regulations as to how we select chiefs.
Nana Ajobi Kitty has denied any wrongdoing.
Well, the minority in Parliament has challenged a number of claims made by President Akufo-Addo in his State of the Nation address delivered in Parliament on Tuesday.
And the minority during the debate of the address raised issues of concerns with the president's figures on the country's economic outlook when he took over power. And as expected, the majority defended the president. We'll bring you more from Joseph Opoku Gakpo.
NPP MP for Wenchi, Professor Yaujan Bafwo, who moved the motion for the commencement of the debate, claimed the NDC government left the economy in an ugly state.
In all these three important sectors, it is clear that the economy that this government inherited from the past government is not only faltering, but it is in very ugly state.
But former Deputy Finance Minister Kesela Tofosen disagrees.
I was surprised to see, after reading through the President's State of the Nation's address, to know that, Mr. Speaker, certain economic indicators, key ones, are missing. Mr. Speaker, whether they were deliberate or not deliberate, Mr. Speaker, I cannot judge. Mr. Speaker, what we are trying to say here is that if you want Ghanaians to know the true state of the economy, Mr. Speaker, don't pick and choose. Mr. Speaker, give Ghanaians the full indices so that we'll be able to judge exactly what is the true state of the economy.
MP for Tamale North, Hassan Suheni, challenged claims by the president to have secured 125 million Canadian dollars for his Planting for Jobs initiative. He says the amount was secured by the NDC government before it left power.
This 122 million Canadian dollars was secured by the previous administration. This is the budgetary support that has been coming from the Canadian government. And indeed, there is record to show, Mr. Speaker, that on the 25th of February, on 25th February 2015, in conclusion, Mr. Speaker, on 25th February 2015, the Canadian First Secretary in charge of development paid a visit to the then Agric Minister, Alhaji Muniru Limuna, and announced this facility and assured that the disbursements was going to start in March this year. So it would have hurt nothing. It would have hurt nothing if the president acknowledged the contribution of the former administration.
MP for Ketu South, Fifi Kwete, questioned why the president failed to acknowledge the many infrastructural projects the NDC government undertook whilst in power.
Mr. Speaker, I wish to also indicate that the president is taking over a country that has got unprecedented investment in economic infrastructure. At no time in our history could we talk about entities like Ghana Port and Harbour Authority, Ghana Airport Company, strong enough to stand on their own balance sheet and leverage financing in the region of over $1.5 billion. We left that legacy for you, and that is a beautiful time to be taking over. So you can't really be talking about an economy which is in a bad way when your government in 2008 left this country in much more deleterious and debilitating condition. That simply cannot be the truth.
NPP MP for Boise East, Kweku Kwatin, claimed the NDC used the energy sector levy, which was meant for the clearing of debt in the energy sector, to buy crude oil.
It has been indicated that the energy sector levies were put together to deal with these problems. Mr. Speaker, we ought to remind ourselves that the energy sector levies were old levies in the energy sector that were consolidated. They were not the creation of anybody. But perhaps the worrying observation that we can make as a country, Mr. Speaker, is that the money that is supposed to have gone into dealing with some of the indebtedness of the energy sector in the last 6 months of 2016 were used to procure crude oil and gas to power our generators, to pretend that somehow we have dealt with the problems of the sector because we do not have done so.
The debate is expected to continue on Friday.
And here on the AM show, we still have to remain in Parliament because some parliamentarians have been asking President Akufo-Addo to take the fight against corruption as seriously as he assured during the State of the Nation address. So we'll hear from some two members of Parliament. First from the Ofuaso-Ayerbi Member of Parliament, Kojo Ponkroma, and then Al-Hassan Suhini, the Member of Parliament for Tamale North.
In recent regimes, some advancement has been made in the fight against corruption. The Public Procurement Act, even Parliament stepping up its work at the Public Accounts Committee level, the speed with which the Attorney General's, the Auditor General's report is now put together on previous year's accounts. These are major instruments that were put forward to help the fight against corruption. And the Constitution envisages that as we move along with our democracy, subsequent governments and regimes will do what is necessary to further the fight against corruption. So I'm excited, Mr. Speaker, that His Excellency the President talks boldly about adding a major brick to our nation's infrastructure when it comes to fighting corruption by introducing the Office of the Independent Public Prosecutor. And he quickly mentions that that will be firmly grounded in law and in accordance with our Constitution. Mr. Speaker, it is a major move which, if implemented, would ensure that all of us here across the sides of the aisle, various public officers, various politicians, are in themselves insulated in the risks associated with the job that we do. And that this office will help reinstill the confidence that the Ghanaian public needs to have in the public processes in fighting corruption.
I will take up from where my honorable colleague left off by saying that indeed we all support His Excellency the President's declaration to ensure that corruption becomes a thing of the past. But I, however, just want to remind Mr. President that the fight against corruption, in the fight against corruption, he has a tall record to beat, because it remains true that the worst performance of an NDC administration, as far as the Transparency International report on corruption on Ghana is concerned, remains the best performance of an NPP administration.
By our relevant rules, he has no right to mislead the House. I am saying by point of order, Mr. Speaker, that he has misled this House by making that extraordinary, outrageous allegation. That is misleading the House, Mr. Speaker. Because, Mr. Speaker, the whole world is aware of their credibility. And then, Mr. Speaker, we have argued that corruption is in the DNA of that party opposite. So for this member, Mr. Speaker, to get up in this August House to allege that NDC, by any shade, by any shadow of imagination, is better than MPP administration, that is gone past Ejekunko Force administration, and of course the NPP administration going forward. Mr. Speaker, should not be allowed, should not be entertained. And Mr. Speaker, you should have called him to withdraw, because he was completely off the mark and he got it wrong. Well, the deputy leader is asking that they should lay, which particular report do you have in mind? That they should lay the transparency report. That he should lay that report. Mr. Speaker, let him withdraw it, because other than that, there will be no peace in this House. Let him withdraw that statement. Other than that, there will be no peace.
And that's it for the news wrap up this morning. We have a lot more news as we get interactive again on how the stories have been displayed on front and back pages of the newspapers. They will be up next.
Yeah, okay. But if you want a very interesting debate in Parliament, you've got to join us because we would usually broadcast that live here on Joy News, so you've got to stay on. Somebody said the things they do in Parliament is like secondary school, you know?
I think it's usually that's characteristic of many parliaments around the world. It's about arguing and debating, etc. And when people of the same peers or contemporaries kind of converge, those kind of things happen. So it's not as if they're in secondary school, but it's how the job is.
I think you know, he was just describing the hierarchy, the things they do, that kind of thing. Well, I think we're getting very intellectual debates from Parliament, which is very healthy.
Especially for this Parliament,
we've
had an upgrade of the type of MPs that we have in terms of their intellect and what they bring to the table, etc. But it's also a reflection of how far we've come as a country, in which the educational standards have improved, the expertise have improved, and the human resource in themselves have improved.
Yeah, nice things you say, but there are still some people in Parliament who will never speak till their 4-year comes to an end. We'll come back with the newspaper. Stay with us.
We'll be right back.